Going to call to order the October meeting of the Eastham Energy and Climate Action Committee. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. So welcome. We are here, as everyone knows, as the Energy and Climate Action Committee to address protecting and improving our air quality, our environment, our changing coastal areas through policy and our infrastructure and adaptable solutions. So I'm real excited about all the things we're doing here. We got a lot of good stuff going on, and I think today should be a fairly straightforward meeting, but a lot of good things going on. So the quote for tonight, in honor of Jane Goodall, who passed just very recently. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. I thought that was a cool quote. So with that, we'll go around and do introductions. Let's do the committee first. I'm Tom McNellis.
Thanks, Arcioni.
Lenny Carr.
John Boyney.
And Olaf is online.
Olaf Hegland, right here.
And Harriet.
Harriet Emerson.
All right, and then our guests. So why don't we again start on our left?
Gary Senecal. I'm a volunteer for the ECAC and also the liaison between the CAC, ECAC, and the Recycling Committee.
I'm Genevieve Smith. I'm the student liaison for the Nauset Green Club.
And we're super happy to have Genevieve here. They did a great job at the Net Zero conference, and a lot of kudos for a lot of good work that's going on. John's in the room.
Yeah, John Mugru's just interested resident.
Awesome. And let's go with Kathy.
Kathy Daw, Eastham part-time residents.
All right, and Matthew.
Matt Fitzgerald, just an Eastham resident who was interested.
Welcome, welcome. And then our liaison with town, Shana.
Shana Brogan with the town.
All right, and we'll go to you in just a second, Shana. But first, public comments. So this is the time to open the floor to any of our visitors, who are always welcome to make any comments that you'd like to make, any items that are not on the agenda.
Tom, we also have Roberta, who I don't think.
Oh, I'm sorry, Roberta, yes.
Hi, if you can hear me, I'm Roberta Longley, member.
Did you get a train? Get Ola? Are you on a train?
I'm on a bus.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, you blinked off for a moment there, Roberta. So yeah, I'm glad to see you back on.
You're not driving the bus.
All right, let's get started then with administrative updates from Shana. It's all yours.
Okay, so for the EV charging stations, the replacements, we sent out a request to the state DEP for their EVIP grant, and we should be hearing back from the state in a couple of weeks. So we've already reached back out to them to get an estimate, and so they let us know we should be hearing pretty soon. And Rich and I sent a joint letter to Mass DOT for the fast chargers. So these would be new chargers in the town hall parking lot. And with the change of the DOT secretary this past couple of weeks, I resent that letter to other staff. And so we have a meeting with them early next week to go over that project.
Excellent. Maybe get an indication of whether the federal funds are still there to fund that project.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm assuming that hopefully they're either going to let us know what the process is going to be to get those funds, or they're gonna redirect us to some other funding avenue or some other way to get the project funded, because otherwise I feel like they would have just told us in an email that the fund's not available, check back later or something like that. So I'm hopeful that we have a meeting that means something positive.
Yeah, I've been reading that the NEVI funds are becoming available again.
Oh, wow.
So,
Excellent.
I know
Excellent.
Pennsylvania went to sue the Fed, and the Fed basically said, "Uncle." So it sounds like if you speak up, the money's going to come. So
And I think
for
that
now,
we're in just the right position because they want to do this every 50 miles. And the other installation is in Plymouth. We're right about 50 miles from that. And I think very, very important for our local economy because this allows visitors who are coming up to stay here, stay in Eastham, charge their vehicles. So I think a big boost to commerce here and tourism.
Just
Definitely.
on
Well,
this. Is
Yep.
this to replace the existing chargers, the NLX chargers, or is this to add more?
This one would be to add more. So we have two grant opportunities out there, two requests that we've made. One is to the state DEP to replace the existing chargers at the library and the town hall in kind.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be the fast chargers. And then we have a second DOT funded grant through federal funds that would be fast chargers and that would be new.
Okay.
They'd probably be along the back of the parking lot, and I think it's about 4 spaces.
Okay. Thank you.
So we've also been working on the decarbonization plan and the EV policy, which are on the agenda. I met with Lisa Sullivan to go over the application process for the climate leaders. So we're in pretty good shape for that. We just have to kind of go through what we're doing, which is getting the EV policy approved and the decarbonization plan approved and get our letters signed and things like that. And then lastly, we have been working with the Cape Light Compact to get the Green Communities grant application out there. So Jackie just signed it. It's due tomorrow or Wednesday, I believe it's Wednesday. And that is for the replacement of the HVAC at the police station, and it's for 488,000, and we're asking 225 for that grant, which is the maximum. So we'll be submitting that tomorrow.
Excellent. It's fantastic.
Very good.
Very good. Thank you, Shana.
Sure.
Making a lot of progress there, which is fabulous. That's really good to hear. All right. Next up, we have the minutes from September. Yeah, September 8th. I have it on my notes here. September 8th. Good night. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to take a peek at those. Any comments or problems you see with it? If not, we'll take a motion. Motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second that motion.
All right, motion's been seconded. All in favor of approving the September 8th minutes?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Excellent. So next up, moving right along, we have the Decarbonization Roadmap. Now, this is the second major piece of the requirements list that we need to finish for the climate leaders application. The first piece was the zero emissions vehicle policy, zero emission vehicle first policy. This one was funded by a grant from the Green Communities Division of DOER. They paid the consultant that came in and did an analysis of our equipment, our facilities, wrote a rather long, I think it's an 80-page or so, document that talks about our steps to decarbonization, both in the equipment, buildings and equipment category, as well as the vehicle category. The vast focus of it, the most of the focus was in the buildings and the aging of the equipment, the building envelopes, the HVAC, the water heating, they did talk about solar, and they have given we had a good set of comments from the stationary energy working group on what is the increase in electrical use as we electrify the building. So I do have that spreadsheet now. I'll get that uploaded to our site. And that will correlate to our planning for, for solar energy for town.
Just a clarification on that. When I did that analysis, I was not aware or did not remember learning that the only facilities that were permitted to be part of the analysis were existing municipal. Because I had added the modernization of town center and the addition of tea time, redevelopment of tea time to my numbers as to what I felt, and also the wastewater treatment. So, which is a big part of it. So my understanding, my numbers are inflated to include those facilities that.
As they should be.
Okay.
As they should
All
be.
right.
Yes, there was a number of things, and let me bring up my notes. And this was in the meeting minutes, or the meeting packet. But pretty much all of the comments that we provided to the consultant were answered. And I think satisfactorily. There were a number of items there that, as you said, Mike, were pretty much, hey, this roadmap is based on the MEI, the Mass Energy Insights database. And all right, so be it. That's how they. Let me just share this. That's how they do it. So at least we're aware of that, and we compensate, as you said, by putting the those extra needs into the extra needs that we know we're going to be having into our calculations and analysis. And so because it's only the MEI system, there's a few buildings that are missing. For instance, the visitor center is not in there.
High school.
The high school, well, yeah, we don't own the high school, right? So I think there's an opportunity in our climate action plan to bring in the Nauset School District and expand that way.
Well, my biggest concern, maybe Shana, this, is that the library's role as a warming center versus the emergency shelter at the high school, how is that delineated? How do folks know where to go? Is the library or the high school? What is the town's plan for notification and power and so forth with respect to those two facilities? Which I understand right now are the only two in town. And do we share that shelter in the high school with other towns, or is that exclusive to the town of Eastham?
No, it's for the Outer Cape, but
Okay.
yeah, they do send out notifications usually primarily through the code red. So it will be the phone call, the voicemail, and whatnot that goes out to everybody. And a lot of times they'll update on Facebook, through email. So I'm sure they have a process. I don't know exactly what sequences they take, depending on the type of storm that we have. But I know that there's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of Facebook people getting the word out there that the library is open and the shelter is open. So yeah, I'm sure they have a way to get out to the information as best they can to everybody.
So Shana, it's Lenny speaking.
If I have to turn
Get the mic on.
Yeah, I think when the light is on.
Bottom push, the green light on. There you go.
Okay, Shana, it's Lenny speaking. As part of the, I'm one of the representatives to the hazard mitigation plan update that's coming up. I think the emergency preparedness piece of it seems to have been one of the issues that came up in our discussions a lot. And like everyone knows, there's probably a drill, but no one really knows what the drill is. So what do you think is the best way for us and perhaps others to learn exactly what that drill might be, and then to consider communication strategies to our town for what they would do in the event of an emergency?
That would be through the police and fire department. We could certainly ask them. I know that they've met with the select board. It might have been more kind of in the last few months. It might have been about more focused on wildfires, but and then they kind of went over their, their plan for that. But it would be through the police and fire department. I can reach out to them and see if they have anything written at this point that they could share as far as how they plan to notify people and things like that, and let you know. But otherwise, it would be a good recommendation for that plan to communicate that to people so they know kind of what's going on and what to expect.
Yeah, there are references to an emergency response plan or emergency shelter plan. There seems to be several names, but I have not been able to find it. I've scoured through the website and the document center.
Shane, my other concern is that when we modernize these facilities, as we upgrade to to heat pumps, for example, at the library, and I'm not sure what's in the, I don't know what the capital plan is for the high school as to what they're currently heating with. And I'm not sure if they currently use heat pumps or are they using gas-fired furnaces. But
Yeah, I'm not sure.
My concern is that if the library right now uses gas and we upgrade to a heat pump, the current generation system is probably not adequate to power the heat pump in an emergency. So the validity of that as a shelter comes into question, or as a warming station. So we need to understand, what are the risks there? And same at the high school. If the high school is currently running on gas and is going to modernize the heat pumps, somebody's going to know whether those generators are adequate or we have to do something else. Or else the usefulness of the facility becomes in question. So that's
Right, I think that's a good point, and I can definitely look into it and relay that to those departments. And I think it's also with this grant for the police department, and it's looking like it's going to save us 3,285 therms of gas, but it's going to use 15,313 kilowatt hours of electricity. So just making sure that those generators are very important and
right.
that they're equipped to handle that also.
Yeah, and similarly here at the town hall complex, we're currently looking at an opportunity to add solar and storage on site here locally and putting the complex on its own microgrid. So we need to understand the implications of that with respect to the emergency management at the fire station and the police station as well. So thank you.
Sure, yeah, thank you. Those are all good points.
Quick comment on that, Mike. If are we looking at CLC incentives for this project?
Are you talking about for the town hall complex?
Yeah. The reason I'm asking is if the current system, if the generators are currently supporting the existing system, could the existing system be used in a backup scenario? In other words, the reason why I'm asking for CLC is because they changed the policy on the residential side to require people to remove their fossil fuel heating system in 2025. I happen to be getting in before that, and I still have my old heating system connected and supported by my generator, but I don't have my heat pumps on the generator. You see what I'm saying? So I would have to, in an emergency, I would have to switch back to my old system and let that run on the generator power.
Right. But these are different grants. These are grants coming from green communities and not through Mass Save. So and even then there are different rules, as you say. Well, it's good to know those rules as we get into the residential side.
Right.
But I think it's really critical, especially as we're looking at the the resiliency and hazard mitigation plan.
Well, Olaf, with respect to local storage as part of a microgrid at the town hall complex, I would think that once we entertain, once we get a bid, or so what the proposal is gonna be for, the PPA, so the power
Mhm.
purchase agreement that we would sign up to, we would then determine how that potentially, how could we generate revenue by participating in the connected solutions side for demand response, by making that battery available to the grid, when, when it's not required for emergency.
So
Right.
let's put that on on our list to do. I want to get back to the decarb roadmap. And I'll just say that what I kind of did in my recommended updates here is just kind of punted it to the next set of discussions, because as far as green communities is concerned, the high school is part of the Nauset regional, and the shelter there is part of the Nauset regional. There's a terminology they use, but it was Nauset regional sheltering. So put that aside so we can move forward with climate leader, but I think we definitely want to pick that up again in discussions. So the other notes I'll make is that there's a bunch of, I'll say, wonky kind of terminology that's used, including things that were really curious where it said open space. Is that how the heck can open space use use therms and kilowatt hours? But yeah, it's specifically the windmill building, the rec building, the booths. So anyway, with that in mind, there's a list of things that I mentioned that I inserted here, and what I'm asking is that we submit this to Shana for consideration. This won't be the final, but this would be our recommendation with some of the wording that I put in here. And kind of drawing on existing documents that have been done. For instance, a lot in this summary that DOER had requested, or that the consultant had requested, really came from the PR release for the conclusion of the Green Communities Grant. So I didn't have to make up a lot of words. I just kind of put them together and shaped them into sections that were needed. But one thing, Shana, that I think you really want to take a look at is this, who's going to be in charge. You may want to be shaping that wording a little bit with Rich and make sure that that works with the way the long-term planning and capital budgeting happens. But that was, I did to the best of my ability from what I know is going on there. And then here's the warming station, Mike. So that you mentioned a lot of what you said was in here. And a big question mark is, how long does this have to be open for? I think probably these days you want more than 3 days of shelter. You probably want 5, but that's, hazard mitigation plan material. Trigger events, I added in there the North Eastham Town Center project, which could include, or probably will include, some sort of decision on the COA building. And then the DPW building, which is going to be in the midst of the wastewater treatment facility construction all around it. That could affect timing on when you want to do anything at the DPW building. And then I mentioned that the fire department was actually done this year. That was not recorded in the document. All right. So with all of that, and then there's this this chart. Again, Shana, this is as best we can figure out. These would be the adjusted timings based on what I just mentioned in terms of the North Eastham Town project and its effect on the COA building, and the fire. The fire department's already been done, so that was pushed out, and then the DPW building pushed out a little bit. Take a look at that with Rich. You may want to make final adjustments on that. Okay, So all of that comes together into a recommendation, that would go into, be addressed, I think, to the select board. I'm queuing this up for consideration on November 17th, where what they're planning to do, as I understand it, is hold an open hearing, a public hearing on both this and the zero emissions vehicle policy. And this goes through the same sort of language that you saw when we approved the ZEV letter. This is why we're doing it. This is green communities, climate leader designation, cost efficiency, those sort of things. This is the summary for the policy adoption. And a lot of this I took from the climate leaders website and their policies and procedures. Why is all this being done? You'll see the zero over time approach in there, which is their words. And I added that, the town of Eastham retains ultimate decision-making and authority for all capital upgrades. So there's nothing in here that is requiring the town to do something. This is setting a set of goals for the town to strive for, and obviously budgeting and other things that are going on, such as the Northeast Town Project, could easily affect timing and all this.
So I guess, Tom, and everyone, my concern is that why aren't we mentioning in this roadmap, which essentially becomes a roadmap, the plan to modernize town center, develop tea time, move the COA there, build the wastewater treatment facility? Why aren't all these changes part of this document, at least to be upfront with whoever, reads this and says, okay, you guys are, but I've heard you do this, I've heard you've done this.
No, good question. And I did put wording in there to say that these are coming. I think the difference is that what they're looking for here is a definitive, here's the numbers, by the numbers, here's what you need, here's the timing, here's the equipment. And I think it's up to us now to update this, us being the town, to update the document as those new buildings come online.
But I'm saying this is in support of us trying to get the green communities designation, correct?
Correct.
So why wouldn't we at least be upfront with this goes to the state?
Yeah, it's in there. No,
right, okay.
Yeah, I put wording in there to say these are coming.
Okay.
But this is our baseline as of the fall of 2025.
Talk about the potential changes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And there is something in here that I put in wording on how those changes will be done. And again, Shana, take a look at that. But I think that's kind of a combination of us helping you and Rich to do updates on the document in the future.
Yeah, I don't want to justify it. I don't want to justify us getting additional grant money and spending it in a facility that's going to be ultimately placed in 5 years. I would be concerned about that if I'm the funding authority.
Yes, but you're thinking which building now?
The wastewater treatment facility, DPW. Why modernize the DPW building if we're just going to tear that site down?
That's why that was pushed off.
Yeah, all right, but
and I specifically mentioned that was happening. Yeah, exactly. Although in the current planning, the DPW building is kind of an island in the midst of all this construction. So I think the recommendations were to get the weatherization steps done and then take a look at the HVAC upgrades. So yeah, no, good points, Mike. Very good points. So, whoops.
So you're looking for a motion to?
So yeah, I'm looking for a motion to submit this as a recommendation to the town with the document that if you chose to dive in late night and see the 80 pages, it's in there, and move this forward so we can have the hearing on November 17th.
Okay, now motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other comments, discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hi.
Was that a,
No, she was I.
that was a, okay.
Harriet, that was an I for
Aye.
clarification.
Oh, yes, aye, sorry.
I jumped the gun when I said objections and okay, so I think it's approved unanimously. Very good. Exciting. This is a lot of,
Yes, thanks
Yeah.
Tom, for
Nice
doing
job,
that.
Tom.
all right, next up. We have the, another exciting project, the, Clean Energy Clinic, and I can project this for you, John.
Thanks.
Clinic there's.
Okay. So you have in your packets, meeting packets, a couple of documents related to this. One is this single page agenda, which is fairly high level because it's a structure of this event is fairly straightforward. And then backing that up, there's some more detailed summary of what we're doing and sort of the areas where there may be some ongoing need as we approach the date of delivering this clinic, which is November the 6th. In the evening at 6 o'clock at the library. Just a reminder of the essentials of what this event is all about. It's a clinic that is designed to convey information focused on heat pumps and solar applications in residential settings, and with a particular focus on the finances associated with both of those, the incentives that are available, that continue to be available. This sort of the idea of this event originated with the consideration that people may be feeling like with moves at the federal level that there may not be good options moving forward to support clean energy, and this clinic is here to say that's not the case. There are a lot of good options, and we've got some strong support from CLC at this event to help us tell that story. And part of telling the story is putting it in the context of sort of the larger progression that a household can go through from total fossil fuel reliance to, all the way to solar and relying on solar for clean energy, and the major steps that one can take as a household along the way. Our presenter in this case for CLC is Dan Shell, who's a customer service manager for CLC. And he's going to tell that story, sort of paint that bigger picture of the progressions you can pass through, and then provide people with some detailed information on how to make that happen, depending on where they are along the way. So that's the concept for the event, and in keeping with that outline I just provided, it kind of breaks down into two pieces. There's an upfront presentation, as I mentioned, by Dan at CLC. And then people will then go back to their seats and a set of roundtables. This is in the library, and these will be small groups. We've capped this at 40 individuals. If we get to 40, that would be great. But that would mean we would have a room full of small tables put together, and each person at the round table then will have a chance to pose questions to a facilitator, one of our local experts, who will be able to answer their specific questions about their particular situation. This is a model that we used last year for a clinic that was focused on solar and was well received, and we're doing it again in that same fashion. This is, as I mentioned, at the library. We've got the main meeting room on the first floor of the library. Plus, we've got a small office space also on the main level, and that will be enough to have all the tables that we require for this, even if we get to 40 folks. Other logistics I won't get into in too much detail, but if people have questions, you can pose them. Yeah.
John, one concern I had is that if we get 40 people. How many round tables are we talking for the first session, which is 30 minutes, right?
Right.
How many round tables?
We would have
We're talking of 10 people per round table, 4 round tables?
10 people.
All right, so in 30 minutes, 10 people get to air their primary concerns.
Right.
So that's like,
it's not a lot.
No, it's like 3 minutes per person.
And I think,
and then no response from the facilitator.
Well, what I have discussed in our planning for this in some email with everybody is that we don't take the approach of splitting it in half in 30-minute block, that we instead do an hour and have people stay at their tables for the full hour, which would give you more time.
Okay,
And I think that's going to be,
so the people that are interested in both solar and heat pumps then?
they can ask questions about solar and heat pumps.
Oh, all right, so the roundtable is gonna discuss both.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. That's a.
I missed that, sorry.
Are you still polling people to see what they're interested in?
Yes, yeah.
If you
Just-
find some that are
yeah.
only interested in solar, I suppose there's an option there to make it game time.
Yeah,
Right?
and there could be, significant changes and greater clarity on our numbers between now and then. We're basically 3 weeks out from the event. We're basically halfway to the limit of 40 people that we have set. Depending on what happens between now and then in terms of people signing up, we may know a lot better exactly how many people we're likely to have, and that would enable us to fine tune some of the planning. And we are asking folks as they register, which is happening via email. We're following up their registration with just a very basic couple of questions. Are you going to be attending this solo or with it somebody else? Important to know for seating. And then, are you primarily interested in solar or heat pumps, or are you equally interested in both of those? We haven't gotten everybody to respond to that question, but I'm going to send out a follow-up to everybody before the event and see if we can get a little more. Yeah. So, that's the plan. And just in terms of logistics, that's the basics on meeting space. Great support from the library as usual. Corey Ferenkopf has been great. We will have some light refreshments. CLC is funding that, which is great.
And you're gonna give me a shopping list.
And Tom's gonna get a shopping list and take care of that business. We are asking people we're strongly urging people, in fact, to arrive before 6. 5:45 would be ideal so that we can get everybody in and we can actually start at 6, because it's tight. We need to be out of the library by 7:45, period. End of discussion. So we need to keep things going. And we should be able to do that.
So what do the flyers say? 5:45?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The flyers say it starts at 6, but the flyers also say arrive at 5:45.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so
It's
then
still like a heat pump graphic.
I know.
It looks like all solar to me.
Disappointed. I know. So let's see, what else did I want to go over with you? So those were logistics and refreshments. Oh, in terms of the promoting of the event, we've done a lot of promoting of the event in a variety of spaces. And thank you to our partners, including EPERDA and others who have been great about helping us get the word out. Thank you to Genevieve for helping get the word out through the Green Club. I don't know if you have any update on that since your email.
Delia's making an Instagram post that should be up today or tomorrow. And then I'm gonna email administration. We have a newsletter that goes out to every student and every parent in the district every Friday. So I'm gonna ask them to put that in the newsletter because there's a section of like community events.
Great.
So I'm gonna ask them to put that in there.
Will they?
I think so.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff like similar to this, I think that's usually in there.
That's great. Good. Good. So
That's a great idea too, because we often have trouble reaching out to the folks under 50 out there in the
Yes.
community.
Yeah.
So what a great way to do that.
Yeah. And in addition to that, we have the COA newsletter coming out in a few days, and there's an item in that as well. And there will be an item in the Independent for the Eastham specific section of the Independent when that comes out this week, and some promotions as well. And I don't know if the town's going to send an email or not. I have an email blast. That's, I don't know, Shana, if you've heard anything about that.
Posted on the town Facebook page today, and I believe on the town website. So I don't know if there's a sign up where people get notified if Kayla posts on I think it's like a news or upcoming events area of the town website. I forget what it's called, but those were both done today. So hopefully
Okay.
that will get some registrants.
Great.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and I guess everyone that subscribes, it says they're interested in that, automatically gets an email.
Right, right. So, I'm anticipating kind of a surge of registry in the next week or so. And so we'll keep an eye on that.
And Cape Black Compact is also sending out information.
Yes, that's
to
right.
its,
PLC is
social
also,
media and the
Yeah.
partners.
yeah. And Dan has been busy preparing the presentation that'll kick off the meeting or kick off the clinic. He's been very responsive to our extensive notes back and forth to him to whittle down what was a very long presentation, chock full of information, to something that can be done within 25 or 30 minutes. And he will be making copies and have handouts available, including not only of his slides, but of backup slides, which will contain a lot of very useful information for people. So that's going to be a key third sort of leg of the value of this clinic overall, in addition to the presentation itself and the roundtable discussion, will be the material that people walk out with. It'll be pretty considerable. It includes not only what CLC has to offer, but a couple of our products as well, our heat pump guide, solar information sheet that we have as well. So people will not want for information.
Hey, John, I just
Yes,
just two questions. One is it still planning to put this on it to make us the opening presentation available on Zoom?
We're working on that, Kathy. I talked to the media services fellow again today, and for some reason, the library is a particular challenge as a venue for doing something live, but he's working on it this week, and we'll have a sort of a definitive answer on that. Either way, it will be recorded so that it can be provided to people.
Right.
After the fact. So one way or the other, we'll be able to get the content to folks.
That would be great if you also can make the presentation available in a PDF format, the same thing that you would be handing out at the session, we can send that out electronically to our entire membership.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, Chad.
I'm not sure if I should be.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just thinking for the folks that are non-resident right now, they're non-residents,
Yes.
you could do a Zoom roundtable and schedule that so that they could all participate, ask questions, even split them out into groups. And provide a similar experience to what you're getting in person.
Okay.
But with no additional work, really, just doing it all via Zoom might be a way of engaging folks and providing them with additional information.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, and I suppose that wouldn't have to be at the day of the event.
No,
It could be after, perhaps Kathy, after you posted it, and Kathy, we're not hearing you.
That's actually a very interesting idea. We should talk about that after you've gone through the event and we can see what we could schedule. Maybe, I think that would be interesting.
it's good.
Well, I would,
You can facilitate that.
yeah, but
I'm
I'll
sorry,
vote
and I'm sorry, who made that comment?
John,
John Muggeridge.
Okay. Thank you.
I would propose then that the focus of the chart, I'm not sure the chart's gonna be the same, because if Dan is focusing on the financial incentives, there are no financial incentives for part-time homeowners. All right?
Well, that's not.
They're different,
They're different.
so we
So-
should focus on that.
If, so to answer the heat pump question, because that was one that I still had in my mind. The house, officially by Mass Save, the house needs to be occupied and heated in the winter. Now, what does occupied mean? That's left up to subjectivity. So if somebody's up there, say, every weekend, I think that, in my mind, that would be well worth doing a heat pump. If it's, that they're only there until October, and then they don't come back until May. I think that's what Mass Save is trying to avoid incentivizing, because then they may only be getting heat pumps to do air conditioning in the
All
summer.
right, so I thought It had to be your principal residence. That's not true.
That's my understanding is that you don't have to
Okay.
be principal residence for that.
And that was my
Yeah,
understanding.
there's a whole world about domiciles, which is quite complicated from an interest. It's an interestingly political word, and how to define it. So not necessarily be equal to, but is overlaps to a large degree your point on primary residence. But there were tons of part-time residents who were there all year round at various points in time, and heat their houses for the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, some part-time residents could conceivably be here for the winter and gone in the summer. You know, so and I specifically asked the question, and they said it was based on occupancy of the house. So again, they're trying to avoid providing an air conditioning upgrade that's not going to be used for heating and not going to offset fossil fuel usage.
Right. But I assume solar is the same. Has solar gone away with the federal funding, or is there still solar funding?
There's state funding, and so you have to be able to offset your Massachusetts income taxes.
Oh, it's a credit then.
Yes, it's a credit. So out of state part-time residents would not have any opportunity there.
All right, so before we decide what to do, let's take a look at what the presentation is and see how applicable it is to most of our part-time residents. That would be helpful.
And we'll get a bit more clarification on this next week when the team that's been organizing this, which includes several people around the table here, we're going to be meeting with Dan Shell, who's presenting to CLC, and that'll help. We'll kind of start float this idea with him and see what he thinks, and he can help clarify on some of these questions that we're having. So
okay, great. Thanks,
Kathy. So let's see. So the facilitators we've got lined up, we've got good folks there. Tom, Mike, Olaf, and Dan Shell are going to be leading the way for us on this. Several folks did respond to my request for note-taking assistance. We need one more person, ideally, to be a note-taker, which means sitting at one of the round tables and just listening and capturing the key questions that are posed. It's not a particularly heavy list. So if you're interested and available for that on November the 6th, please, you know where to find me. Otherwise, I'll find you. And let's see. And that's most of what there is that I wanted to share with you. I mean, there's some other basics, like we'll have an evaluation form to distribute at the end of the event so that people can give us their thoughts on the value and the impact, et cetera. I keep that fairly simple. And then printouts, I've already talked about that being made available to folks when they are there as a packet of materials. I don't know. Any questions?
You said you needed 2 people to staff the sign-in?
I sort of take that back. I think I would grab 2 of our note takers and ask them to.
Okay, how about flyer distribution?
Flyer distribution, thank you for remembering. Yes, we do have some flyers. Thank you, Shana, for making these available. I would love some help just taking a hard copy and putting them wherever you put hard copies of these things, post office, near the library, city hall, etc. Anybody who could be willing to do that, great.
I can help with that, John, when I get back.
All right, Harriet, sounds good. I'll find you. Yeah. I will. Thank you. Any questions from folks? Any observations, suggestions? Good discussion, good ideas. Thank you. I like the Zoom idea particularly.
Yeah, great job, John and the working group getting this planned out. I think it's going to be very, very good resource and something we can probably rerun.
I think so. Hope so.
Other locations. So thank you. And hopefully everyone will be able to go and participate. The more voices at the round tables and in the room, the better.
It's good. And is this also, are we allowed to post this like on Facebook or no?
We have done that.
Okay.
Well, on the town.
You know,
Yeah.
Eastham Community Space or
Yes,
something, yeah.
that we've done, yeah.
No reference.
On to another piece that John has been very instrumental in, and Harriet, and because you've been busy this month.
Yeah, it's been a fun fall. So this is the latest issue of our bulletin, the Wave. We're sort of rushing this to print a little earlier than we might otherwise do, given that it's every other thing. But we want to use it to help promote the clinic and some other things that are happening right at the end of October or right at the start of November. So we're bringing this to you today in hopes that everybody would agree with us moving forward to release this as soon as possible. A quick note, what you're seeing isn't quite up to date in that for the action plan segment of things, there are 2 workshops that are just described here for getting input. At the time, the information that I had made it sound like only the Thursday one was open to the full community, but that's not the case. Both the 29th and the 30th are open to the entire community. One of them is in person on the 29th. The one on the 30th is virtual. So this has been modified to reflect that and now shows both the 29th and the 30th as workshop opportunities for people to attend. And the calendar similarly, closer to the bottom, has been updated just to include a quick reminder that these workshops are happening as well. So that's the most important change to what you see here. Other than that, there are 3 big pieces to it. There's the action plan itself with the workshops. There is our clinic that we've just been talking about, encouraging people to act quickly if they are interested in doing this. Then Harriet did a really nice job of creating an information product that was first released for Windmill Weekend, which is all about how individuals and households can have an impact in ways that are relatively easy and low cost or free, in fact, in some cases. And so we wanted to promote that. Quick summary of it here with a link to that resource for people to acquire if they are interested. And then the calendar is a standard feature along with the administrative sort of stuff at the bottom of it. So our proposal is to release this as soon as the committee approves it. And
I think this is great. I love it.
So I always ask for something, but whoever has the PDF for the easy tips, can you send that to me? Because I'll send that out to our entire community.
Sure, we can definitely get you that.
Okay, thanks.
Harriet, I can do that. I think I most recently put my hands on it and have it right there where I could just shoot it off to Kathy.
All right.
And not to mention you have my email address too.
Right. Gotcha.
Thank you.
Any questions or any other thoughts on this?
Just the one thing on the 2 dates for the climate action plan. I think it said October 30th. Want to put a time in there?
There should.
So the October 29th is 10 o'clock in the morning.
10 a.m.
Good. Yeah, I do have it. I do have it in the modified version of the.
Okay, got it.
So.
Good.
And the location.
That
is here, yeah.
Yeah. 10 a.m. Eastham Town Hall. Yeah.
Any other thoughts, comments on the newsletter?
Can I ask a general question, independent of this particular issue? Is this thing that we're now doing, this is the 3rd time we've done it, this newsletter bulletin, what you call it, whatever you want to call it, does this seem like a good thing to be investing our time in? Any sort of quick reactions to this as a standard output of this committee?
Is there a way to measure the impact it's having?
Harriet, what do you think? Your impact.
Sorry, Harry, is there a way to measure the impact the flyer is having? Are people getting it, reading it, reacting to it? How do we know that? She's muted.
Is she speaking?
Yeah,
Harriet, muted.
you're muted, Harriet.
I think we would have to add something to the document, Mike. So the ones that were so far been distributed were at the Windmill Weekend. There really wasn't, anything in that said you have an additional questions or how would you rate this document or something like that. So in the next iteration, we can, certainly add something like that. Please let us, if this is helpful to you, please let us know, send an email or something like that.
It takes a lot of time, to put this together, and John's doing a great job. I just want to make sure it's worth it.
Yeah.
The effort.
It's a good question. Yeah, and I think that's a good suggestion to insert in the next issue, just a single question, artfully worded, and see if it gets. Yeah.
Is this helpful?
Yeah.
I get it, paying from Capital One, you had a credit from whatever, is it helpful? Thumbs up, two thumbs up, one thumb.
Doesn't mean you respond, but we can.
Do we know how many people it gets distributed to?
Yes, there's about 270 now, I think.
So even,
We might want to survey that.
20% is over 50 people. And,
And I know people at some of the various events we did this year came up and were asking, hey, I signed up, but how come I never get anything? So this seems like a nice balance. It's concise. It's every other month, so we're not spamming people. But it might be worth doing a survey maybe in the spring. See what people think. If we had survey, or if we had constant contact or something, we could actually be tracking how many people open the email, but we don't do that.
Are there hard copies like at places like the library?
We haven't really been doing hard copies. We haven't been doing.
You could.
Well, I wonder, because someone might just pick it up.
We could put some, I think, is Shana still on? Shana, are we allowed to put something like this in town hall somewhere for people to pick up?
Of course. Yeah, there's lots of spots you could put this type of a newsletter. I think that I'm almost positive that the COA does that for their newsletter. And there's all sorts of information in the lobby for different programs and things like that.
Idea.
Let's do that.
And the library too.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Even the superette, if they're willing to just even post it.
Yeah, great suggestions.
If for those that are posted physically, maybe it's possible to include a QR code, and so people can with that, because there are there are hyperlinks in the print and the document. So maybe there's, like I say, a way to include a QR code and so people can get access to electronic copy of the newsletter, so they can do the hyperlink. So
good idea. Okay, so entertain a motion to approve for submission.
Motion to approve for submission.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Motion passes. So let's stop this and we'll jump over. We're right on time here, so I appreciate all of that. Stop sharing. There we go. This button. Okay. All right. So we have a couple of items that I want to relate to everyone, and the first being something that John brought up: the climate action plan next steps, and specifically the October workshops. So there'll be two events. One is, as you said, on the 29th here in Town Hall. The reason we're putting it in Town Hall is to really encourage staff to come. It'll be right here, 10 to noon. It is still open to the public. It is a public workshop. And then the next day will be in the evening. For those who might be working or can't come, or not able to travel over here, and that'll be 6 to 7:30. There is another. I have to share one more item here. So the format is going to be presenting what has been collected and analyzed so far. The various things that have been collected around at different interviews and at the different community pop-ups and the earlier workshop. The commission has been busy putting that together into a set of structured recommendations, top-level recommendations. And the hope is to get to the next level, which is, all right, some of these are kind of generic. How do we make them actions? What do people at the workshops feel are most important? Have we missed anything on the list of items? And so that will be a key focus. So really important to come and make your, make your views and ideas known. So this is an early draft that is an attempt by the commission to distill it into a set of sectors and then down into a set of high-level goals per sector. So Roberta and I met with the commission. We're the liaisons for the for this committee over to the commission. Shana was Shana, I guess they met with you afterwards because I think that was a date that they, that you were not available.
Yeah, I met with them today.
Oh, great. So what you'll see on the left here in terms of sectors, we've debated a lot. The first category had a different name, and we said, no, that's really buildings, right? And that aligns with our greenhouse gas inventory, aligns with one of the major categories, obviously, of greenhouse gas emissions. In that first sector, you'll see the fourth bullet, solid waste is in there. And I wasn't real thrilled with that. And I don't think Roberta was either. I think we lost Roberta. And the commission said that they were on the fence as to whether to make that a separate sector or just include it in one of the existing sectors. I frankly would vote for a separate sector. And what they wanted to do was get feedback at the workshop. And I think all your feedback is important, whichever way you feel. They're going to explain why they did it this way. But I think that's something to think about.
Yeah, I think belongs in community. And I would add also, more plant-based, less, beef as well, right? Regarding the methane. So that's stuff the community can do.
Yeah, so one of the questions, I guess, to that is I think that was in here, but I don't remember what they put it under, and it's not obvious to me in the goal statements they have.
It's under buildings.
For food?
No, regarding your diet. In other words, buying local, eating more plant-based, eating less beef.
Oh yeah, I don't recall seeing that in the recommendations.
That should be in there. I mean, that's something everybody can do.
Yeah,
if they're motivated.
Yeah, so
it doesn't cost a lot of money.
So that's important to, as part of this workshop, that's the kind of feedback they're trying to get to. The second category of energy, these are renewable energy resources. It kind of fits with the top level category that the state is using in terms of electricity as a separate sector category, because that's something the state feels has to be worked on, but it's not a local thing in terms of greening the grid. However, the renewable energy resources is a local item that we can definitely work on.
Yeah.
Next is natural resources. And this is, for the most part, the adaptation and resiliency piece. You'll see, based on the wording in there, that's kind of what they're driving at. Again, these are all, items for discussion and stuff to think about and to help fine tune. Transportation obviously is a big item, and that's I think most of what I was thinking of seem to be in the goals. But again, take a look at that and come prepared to talk about that. And then in the community piece, this is kind of community and governance and outreach. Certainly, I think, Mike, it's not a bad idea. If I don't know if you were the one that suggested solid waste down in there, that could be a way to do that.
Yeah, I think, and the other thing, and that's missing in buildings, in my opinion, is that we've minimized and said nothing about wildfire hazard on the Cape, particularly in our area, which is a real risk. And in buildings, if you take what California's lead is, a lot of the building codes now are telling folks, and insurance companies are requiring, and if you don't, your premiums go up. Don't put foliage within a 5-foot buffer of your house. If you do that, you're making your house more at risk. And you're also making your neighbor's house at risk because you're fueling the fire because it's your structure that becomes, when stuff blows into your yard, if you don't have a vegetation right up against your house, if it lights, it's not going to typically reach your house. And that's proven science. So California right now is taking action where anybody who doesn't meet that 5-foot buffer of vegetation next to the house has to pay a higher premium in the insurance. So
yeah, so good piece also. So yeah, I would say think about this in advance and bring some notes to the meeting. But again, in the community side, you'll see a variety of topics there. These can all again get rearranged and fine-tuned as it goes.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
At the workshop, will this be as far down as they drill these goals?
No, they're gonna go even further.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a very long list of items that they were working on. And buried below, we gave them a lot of feedback on some items and added some, like we added suggested we add light pollution in there. So they weren't ready. They said there's enough changes they're still working on. They'll have it ready for the meeting. Yeah, I think one of the items that I was suggesting and didn't show up here in this version anyway was whether we say natural resources and environment as to try to make that a little bit broader. Because not all of those are natural resources per se, I don't think, but that may be splitting hairs. And then land use. Do we have land use separately here? Do we want to call out adaptation, or is it really just get buried in natural resources? So those are, I think, discussions that that I hope we'll have when we get to there. And I'm also hoping that as we get into the goals section, that they're worded in a way that we can easily assign them to stakeholders. Make municipal separate than residential, and make commercial separate. Right now, kind of commercial and residential are built into that one goal, for instance. So I'd like to be able to hopefully have this easily managed once it's all done.
Quick question, Tom. So for instance, the working group that is preparing for the clinic on November 6th, we're called Stationary Energy. And we're focusing on both renewable energy in the form of solar and heat pumps, which is related to buildings, I guess. Should we align ourselves to these categories? Is that kind of what you're saying? Like we have a stationary energy working group, for instance. Which...
Yeah, that wasn't what I was thinking, but I think there's an interesting question there, and that drives perhaps to the next topic, which is our December goals meeting. But yeah, I think that's a very good point, and we may want to think about arranging ourselves in a way to address some of the items that are going to come our way from the climate action plan.
Yeah, well, our stationary energy came from the commission, Cape Cod Commission's designation as to how they parse energy sectors. So that's why we changed the name to that.
Right, but this.
But whether we should continue doing that, that I think we need to discuss that. I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, good discussions, and I'm sure it'll be a good discussion on the day. Shana.
I was just going to say that these sectors that they've outlined, they explained to me today that they put them and titled them in such a way that it aligns with their county plan. So I think they're trying to keep it all sort of the same, but everything is, towns are different than the county, and obviously, but they're trying to somehow keep it consistent.
Okay. Goals meeting. I talked to Willow Shire over oysters on Sunday at the Oyster Festival. We had a good discussion, and she's agreed to do our goal setting, strategic planning kind of meeting again as we have in the past. I think this will be the fourth time that she's done it for us, and she does a very fine job at that. We've traditionally had it in December. I know December can be a busy month, but also sometimes in January we start losing people. So what I wanted to throw out for quick discussion, and I'm thinking probably more applicable for me to do a little poll for everybody offline, is are there dates and times in December that are good or bad for you? I don't know if daytime still works for folks. I mean, some folks are still working. So we want to be sensitive to folks that do have daytime commitments. Another thought was I was looking back over the last few years, and we've usually had basically 2 meetings in December. We had our regular meeting and then our goals meeting. We could conceivably combine those into one. Most of the December activities have kind of calmed down by then, so we could probably easily just tack on a quick half hour of discussion at the goals meeting and take care of any business. I don't know, what do y'all think?
I personally like the idea of consolidating.
Same here.
Feels relevant, I don't feel like we have to have separate meetings for that.
Yeah, if there's no actions to take as a body, then let's allocate the time to do the planning for 26.
Okay. I know some folks will be away for part. I don't know when you head out.
I head out after Christmas.
After Christmas, okay.
So I'm in Boston and 9th, 10th, 11th, something like that.
Scheduled on the 8th for the
The 8th is right, the current
but that's not, you're asking.
we can adjust that. So all right, so what I'll do is I'll send everyone all the committee members an email and try to pull y'all for dates and timing.
Tom, can you remind us how much time did we have for this?
We did a couple hours. I thought it was a little tight, but what I think we did tend to. No, I think
we did in the library last time, right?
No, it was here.
Yeah,
pretty sure. Yeah,
it
was
library
here.
the previous time.
Yeah, I think.
I remember it was in the Eastham room downstairs once, and then it was in the Turner room once.
Right.
Last year was next door.
Right next door.
Okay.
And the thought last year, I think Willow was really hoping it was just a quick update, and I think as we were adding things like adaptation, I knew it wasn't going to be a quick update. So I think it got crunched that she had a time constraint.
Okay.
And so I think we want to do a full 2 hours. Yeah.
Because if we're gonna reshuffle how we do our working groups too, around this, then we may have to, work that.
Yeah, and it may be a 2-step. It may be let's get most of the ideas out on the table for the first session. We'll be getting the final version of the climate action plan sometime in December as well, I think, if all goes well. So maybe we end up, leaving a little bit of wiggle room for final adjustments.
Yeah. Excuse me, I got to scoot, so I'll catch up with you guys.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Harriet.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right. Still have quorum. Okay, we're good. So the other thing that Willow will do if is spend some time with each of the members ahead of the meeting. So she will send out some info on she'll work with me on coming up with some material excuse me, to think about. Things that you think worked well, things that you think either didn't work well or weren't addressed or need to be addressed now because of changes. And she'll compile all that and kind of come up with a really good list for us to start discussing at the meeting. So we kind of hit the ground running. It's not a, you know, let's start with brainstorming and spend, you know, an hour just on brainstorming. She'll do that all ahead of time. So part of this will be availability to talk to her like a week or two before. Actually, I think it's about 2 weeks before that she tries to do that. All right, so we probably don't want to bump it to Thanksgiving. She said she was going to be away part of November. So I'm kind of thinking maybe the, you know, the second or third week. Well, we probably don't want to go too late. Maybe the second week of December. Does that sound like a reasonable target?
I'm gone 9, 10, 11, so.
You just do the 8th, when we had original plan.
8th was, I think,
It's a Monday.
Playing Monday, yes.
That's Monday, yeah.
And that,
Well, let me do the poll. Let me see what her availability is. And yeah. So 8th is definitely a possibility. Okay. Very good. Speaking of strategic plans, Roberta and I met with a couple members from the strategic planning committee, and we did a walkthrough of our suggestions that didn't quite make it into the document. They assured us that the document is something that is will be updated and is flexible, and will get, you know, they've told the select board it will adapt and grow. So the big move there will be once we get to our climate action plan, we're going to have a broader meeting with them and sit down and go through you know, how to integrate this in. All right. Nauset Fellowship Climate Talk going to be next Sunday, the 26th at 10 a.m. That's at their regularly scheduled Sunday service. It's not really a religious service, it's kind of a community service that they do. So I would welcome any thoughts on folks that have things that you know, material that you think would be good to include. The topic is climate conversations. What can we do? And Harriet had that one pager, so I'll incorporate some of that. We've had some stuff that we've put together in the past, but if you've come up with anything new, I'll draw from the heat pump, you know, clean energy workshop. So there's a number of things that I'm compiling together.
You may want to take the energy navigator stuff that we've been putting
together. I looked at that as well. Yeah. And we're going to do a little not roundtable, but a kind of a panel discussion. I mean, more informal than what you'd normally see in a panel discussion. But I'd like to get a couple of our members up, or frankly, anyone, you know, any of our visitors and volunteers, to sit and I'll give about a 15 to 20 minute presentation and just to queue up some ideas, and then we have another 20 minutes of discussion. Right? So I welcome folks who would like to join and just have a discussion with that community. It's open to everyone, and it is a very lively and well-informed community as we've seen in the past. Okay. I put some notes in on the net zero conference. Do you want to say anything? Y'all were presenting and talking, and
it was really great.
Good presence there.
Yeah, it was great to have Julie on that panel. We got there a little late, so we get to talk to as many of the tables as I think we would have liked. But it was so cool to see like the response to us being there. It was really awesome.
Yeah. I thought you all had a great, you know, a lot of positive feedback coming from others. All right. A quick note on Lower Cape TV. This is interesting. I met with them a couple weeks ago. Went down to their studios and their facility in Orleans. the bottom line is that they're restructuring what the way they're doing business. And I said, hey, in the past, you've told us you're only going to do 2 Eastham events per year, and we never, obviously we never ranked high in Jackie's list to give away one of her Eastham events. They actually have laid off most of their staff now because of funding. And now they're, as they say, returning to their roots and looking to encourage community events there, and encourage groups that have content, because they've lost a lot of their content creators. And the past director there was very focused on doing content creation from within their Lower Cape TV organization. So now they're looking for others, such as the Climate Committee or such as the Green Club, to come in and do events there. So I just throw that out. We don't have a lot of time to talk about it here today, but they have a big space that can hold 75 people. They have a bit of a stage. They have a breakout room that's about a 20-person conference room. And they have the formal studio, which is a separate facility with lots and lots of equipment and wires. And, you could conceivably do kind of I'll say a presentation or a talk or something from there. I don't know how one would do it without feeling really uncomfortable and awkward, but there's different ways that they would be willing to help us to do that. So
like a TED talk,
perhaps.
Yeah.
I think live events to me sound easier to do, but and they would broadcast it.
Yeah, the tape is better.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so think about it. We could set up another meeting down there if we want, and go through. They're actually holding the Orleans farmers market there in the wintertime. Have you been there?
We have our stand there. We have like a thrift store within Green Club, and we bring it to the farmers market, and then we bring it to there when it goes inside in the winter.
Excellent. So how do those work out? Are they well attended?
Yeah, it's really great, and like especially in the summer, it's super busy. And we get to talk to a lot of people in the community, which I guess is the main point, less the selling clothes. Cool. But it's awesome.
Cool. And that's a great project that you have. The one thing that we'd have to get through is a they have a schedule, fee schedule, which they say covers their cleaning costs when someone, a group comes in, and they said they would put it under consideration depending on who was, the group coming in to host something, to reduce or waive those costs. So I think that would be a major item. Kathy.
So I just wanted to say we've used them twice. Once to do a video that we posted on our website, which they did not charge us for. And we've also used them to come and video our in-person meeting that we had at the Elks. And it was reasonably inexpensive even to do that. We had 250 people there, and they did it, and they're very good. They're very good. They're very good and very fast.
Excellent. Okay.
Have a homeowner success story series.
Yeah. I mean, something like that would be interesting. And it seems like a panel kind of thing. So it's not just one person standing there, and that to me, I would be very awkward doing that. I'm not very good at TED Talks, but yeah, a couple of people talking. All right, so food for thought. I met again with Chris Palmer, who's a sustainability manager in Truro. He's very interested in doing something with us. So again, something we should think about. He gave some really interesting data on their solar installation. So they, as well as Orleans, have decided that they get much better return on investment by buying their system. And what they did was they floated a bond, or they're about to float a bond, and the project will be a $4.5 million project, town-owned. They will float the bond, and they will still get more money than if they had paid someone else to do a PPA and someone else owned the system. They essentially get the revenue back of 500K per year. So they pay it off in 10 years. And of the revenue they're getting back, they've put aside 200K per year for lower income residents to help them. They haven't decided exactly how they're doing it, but help them pay electric bills or tax bills or whatever.
How much have they put aside for operations and maintenance?
So yes, that is in there. So they get 500K per year. I don't know how much of the 300 remaining.
Well, I thought the 500K was for local.
No, 200 for local.
Okay. I think 500K was the reimbursement, the energy credits that they got worth.
I think it's a combination.
Okay.
I think, yeah, they're them selling the.
The reason I'm challenging is because CVAC, unless I challenge CVAC's numbers, CVAC did analysis for all the towns. Cape and Vineyards Electric Cooperative, which runs many of our solar PPAs, as to whether we should do buyouts or not, and own the systems. And it was financially disadvantageous to own the system than it was to do the PPA. So interesting to see why one of these internal financials were different than what CVAC came up with.
I'll set something up we can talk about.
Yeah, that would be.
All right, that's all I have. Is there, so at this point, unless there are any questions on all that items, this is time for member updates or liaison updates. Anything you want to share that's going on? I will mention that Elaine has graciously offered to do the talk about the climate resiliency playbook next month as a target.
Right.
Let me know as we get closer whether you're ready. And actually, John has offered. If y'all haven't met John Muggeridge, John has done a lot of has a lot of interest in this area, and if you want to use him for some of what you're doing in adaptation, I think he'd be very willing to.
Sure, that can be helpful.
Sure, wonderful. We can chat for a moment at the end.
Cool.
I'm just a little confused. Also, there's the hazard mitigation plan is being redrafted.
Right.
And I will be on point along with Roberta, although she bounced off, to participate with the Cape Cod Commission as that begins to unfold. I'm realizing I haven't gotten any materials or anything about sort of next steps there. Shall I reach out to Paul, or would you like to?
Paul tomorrow. I will bug him again. He said that the first organizing meeting happened, but I think that was just about 2 weeks ago. I don't think it involved yet the full group that's going to be helping review it. That was my impression. Shane, I don't know if you had any other insights on that.
I haven't heard anything. So I wasn't aware that there was a meeting a couple weeks ago, so.
Either was I. Shana, do you know, is there like a due date for this, that it needs to be submitted to FEMA or whoever it gets submitted to?
I don't believe so. No, it's mainly a document that the town undertakes in order to qualify for federal funding. So there's no mandate that I'm aware of that we have to have one.
Great. So standing by.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll check again tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Also in November, the Cape Cod Commission has offered to come and address us in a more intimate setting after the workshop and talk about results of the workshop and then talk about the next steps. So I think that'll be very good. That'll be the November 10th meeting. And I've also, I think the energy navigators are ready to come up and talk to us. I've been asking them to have a good approach on what they really want to do and how they want to work with the different climate and energy committees in the area. So CC Buckley was, I think, going to come up here. She hasn't fully committed yet, but come up here for the 10th.
Okay, from Dan Shell, Cape Light Compact. Part-time residents can qualify for everything except for the partial $1,250 per ton in the whole home, $3,000 per ton heat pump rebates.
That's in the whole home rebate.
No, partial.
Oh, the partial.
Or whole. They can use the new $250 per ton heat pump rebate in zero interest heat loans. So they don't qualify for the higher rebates, the higher amount, according to Dan.
So,
Okay,
so Mike, many of the part-time residents are Massachusetts residents.
I asked him, so my, way I phrased my question. Dan, some confusion whether second homes where principal residences elsewhere, Massachusetts or otherwise, qualify for heat pump energy incentives. And that was his response. So they can qualify for everything except for the partial 1,250 per ton and the whole home 3,000 per ton heat pump rebates. Because they can qualify for the $250 per ton heat pump rebate and the zero interest heat loan. The heat pump.
So some things, okay, thank you. I was thinking, as we were talking, I was thinking, yeah, but what about all those people who like live in the Boston suburbs and stuff like that, right? I mean, forget me who lives in New York, you know, you get.
Well, I asked Massachusetts or other as the principal residence, so.
Okay, that's perfect, thank you.
Okay, yeah, can you send me a copy of that?
Sure.
Thanks. Great. Any other items?
Me too.
Okay.
With that, then I think we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Not that you're anxious.
Well, your team here. Mike
You
and I.
work well. You're perfect.
Yeah.
You're well-oiled team there. All right, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Have a good night.
But you know Kathy's email?
Thank you.
Yeah, I do.